Coming up, international recognition. Kazakh COVID-19 vaccine could be registered in Switzerland. What opportunities will this open up for Kazakh homegrown vaccine? Stay tuned to find out. The pandemic opportunities. After remote work mode, an increasing number of Kazakh citizens is becoming self-employed. Why is the number of those who work for themselves growing? Find out soon. What talents do school students from Kazakhstan have? The country intends to reveal the creative abilities of the younger generation in the course of special mass testing. Details in our news digest. Kazakhstan reported 3,639 new positive cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. Almaty continues to account for the highest single-day caseload in the country. The metropolis detected 911 new infections. Karaganda region is in the second place with 350 new cases. Nur-Sultan follows with 326 new cases of coronavirus. Since the beginning of the pandemic, total COVID-19 cases in Kazakhstan have exceeded 824,000. According to the data from the Health Ministry, more than 87,000 residents continue to receive treatment for coronavirus. Of them, over 18,000 are in inpatient care. To date, 5,755,817 Kazakh citizens have been fully vaccinated against the virus with 2 doses. Kazakh homegrown vaccine against COVID-19 Kazakh can be registered in Switzerland. Director General of the Research Institute for Biological Safety Problems, Kumsulu Zakaria, said foreigners had shown interest in the domestic vaccine and had even made a proposal to the Kazakh Foreign Ministry and the Ministry of Trade and Integration. She added, the Swiss intend to cooperate and promote the Kazakh vaccine in Africa and Latin America. Representatives of pharmaceutical companies in the European country particularly stressed the importance of the development of the indigenous vaccine in Kazakhstan.
I think the new measures will drive stability going forward, as well competitiveness of the economy, and as well will ensure further sustainable growth going forward. This gives an opportunity as well to invest more funds into the healthcare. The purpose of Sandoz is to drive access to modern, affordable and high-quality medicines. So I think this is the point where we both come together and can further work on improving of the health and well-being of Kazakh people. I know that Kazakhstan vaccine has been developed in Kazakhstan and that people actually are vaccinated by Kazakh vaccine. I think it's very important that
Studies are currently underway on the adaptation of Kazakh vaccine against the Delta variant. Once finalized, it will be registered with the World Health Organization. In the near future, WHO experts will review the activities and work of the vaccine manufacturing plant in the Jambol region. Only then will a specific official registration plan be developed. The Mazhilis approved a draft law on the environmental protection of the Caspian Sea. The relevant document on the ratification of the Protocol on Environmental Impact Assessment of the Caspian Sea was presented by the Minister of Ecology, Geology and Natural Resources, Maghzoom Mirzagaliev, at a meeting of the chamber. He noted that Kazakhstan is located in the northern part of the sea. This site is the most vulnerable part of the environment and needs to preserve the ecology and biological resources. Therefore, according to Mirzagaliev, the document is of great importance.
Каспий теңізінде көмірсутегі шикізатының ірі қорының болуы осы су бассейніндегі экологиялық мен
The presence of large hydrocarbon reserves in the Caspian Sea raises the question of preserving the ecology and biological resources in this basin. In order to strengthen cooperation in the field of environmental protection, Kazakhstan signed a number of protocols related to the Framework Convention. The types of activities that should be regulated by this protocol have been identified. These include oil refineries, thermal power plants, and other waste incinerators with a capacity of 300 megawatts or more, nuclear power plants and other nuclear reactors, construction, reconstruction, and expansion of roads.
Зауыттары, жылу қуаты 300 мегаватт немесе одан жоғары жылу электр станциялары, атом электр станциялары, автомобиль жолдарын салу, реконструкциялау және немесе кеңейту.
Minister Mirzagaliev noted that the ratification of the protocol will not entail negative socioeconomic, legal, environmental consequences and does not require additional expenditures from state treasury. The document, in a transboundary context, together with Kazakhstan, was adopted by Azerbaijan, Iran, Russia, and Turkmenistan. Since the beginning of the year, Kazakhstan has exported over 120,000 tons of aluminium. The value of the consignment sent amounts to over $250,000. Turkey, Greece, Croatia, Italy, Switzerland, China, Montenegro, and Uzbekistan are the main buyers of domestic metal. There are also imports of aluminium. According to Kazakh Ministry of Industry and Infrastructure Development, the volume imported during 7 months of this year is almost 550 tons. The ministry spokespeople stated that metal prices have risen, but they couldn't confirm whether the military coup in Guinea is the reason for that. Meanwhile, according to Bloomberg, the price of aluminium on the London Metal Exchange hit a 10-year high. 1 ton was valued at almost $3,000. All is due to the fact that Guinea accounts for up to a fourth of the world's production. There are more self-employed Kazakh residents. This year, their number has increased by more than 60,000 people, compared to the same period of last year. The gradual restoration of the former lifestyle played its role. According to experts, many residents who switched to remote work during the pandemic preferred to change their jobs. Someone opened a new business, and someone breathed new life into their old businesses.
Уже с конца 2020 года, начиная с третьего квартала 4-го квартала 2020 года, мы наблюдаем...
Since the end of 2020, the fourth quarter of 2020, we have seen a gradual stabilization in the labor market and economic recovery. We already see that the main indicators of the labor market have already reached the level of 2019. The number of self-employed has recovered and reached the level of the fourth quarter of 2019. This is due to the gradual easing of restrictive measures.
Дошла до уровня 4-го квартала 2019 года. Это связано, я считаю, в первую очередь с постепенным послаблением ограничительных мероприятий.
The capital resident, Dinara Bizbaeva, is one of those who started their own business. The flight attendant of one of the leading airlines was on maternity leave. In the spring, the woman planned to return to work, but as it turned out, many flights were closed due to the pandemic and therefore the staff was temporarily cut. However, it helped to fulfill her dream. She opened a cozy coffee shop. The whole family helped the woman.
Изначально это мне казалось немножко такой очень большой такой затеей открыть кофейню, но ближе...
Initially, it seemed to be too big of an idea to open a coffee shop, but then we realized that while there was no way to return to our previous jobs due to the pandemic, we need to come up with something to make money. Within a month from idea to its implementation, we opened a coffee shop. Things are going well. Compared to the first months, our sales have doubled.
Дела идут у нас хорошо. По сравнению с первым месяцем у нас в 2 раза выросли продажи.
Public catering became one of the most affected spheres during the pandemic, as well as the hotel business and services. However, currently, small enterprises are already returning to their previous operating mode. And this, of course, influenced the growth of the self-employed population compared to 2020. Thus, there are more than 2 million of them in the country. And this is not the limit, analysts say. Kazakhstan will discover hidden abilities and talents among school children. They are 10 and 11-year-olds. The country will launch the project entitled Qabiliyet Service on October 1st, as part of which mass testing will be carried out free of charge. The first phase will cover about 50,000 children. At the next stage, teenagers will also be involved. This method for determining children's abilities is based on the 4 C's of the 21st century skills, which are creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. After testing, students will be able to get professional advice from an expert who will help them to decide on their future career. The project is designed to identify and support gifted and talented citizens. It was developed by the Yilbasi Academy Foundation. Kazakh scientists are declassifying archival documents and collecting previously unknown information concerning victims of political repression. They study materials stored in the closed funds of the military. They study materials stored in the closed funds of the Ministry of Culture and Sports, as well as in the departmental archives of the Prosecutor's Office, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the National Security Committee. Specially created 10 working groups are engaged in the search of information in the regions. The research materials will be combined into several collections. One of them is planned to be released at the end of the year. In addition to rehabilitation of repressed people, scientists are actively searching for their burial sites.
Мы в своих планах, в своих методических указаниях и инструкциях предлагаем региональным
In our plans, methodological guidelines, and instructions, we suggest that regional commissions visit districts, send expeditions, volunteer groups, involve local historians, activists, so that they find the burial places. Monuments are erected there, some signs that people know them.
места захоронений. Там ставятся памятники, какие-то знаки, чтобы люди знали.
Біздің аталарымыз шыққан негізгі мақсат осы ашаршылықты болдырмау. Егер олар наразылық болды, егер соңғы малымызды...
There is a list of the repressed. The descendants do not know about it. If we find out their fate, we will be able to tell what they were and what they did for the good of people. After all, many fought famine. They opposed the seizure of livestock and grain from people. The repressed protested against this injustice. In the end, this decision of the authorities resulted in a huge tragedy, the famine. Now we want to talk about the heroic deeds of those previously repressed, to whitewash and rehabilitate their names and deeds. People can now learn about the history, culture, and life of the country of the Great Steppe by visiting the Swiss Museum in Bern. There are 2,000 artifacts on exhibits, which were combined into the so-called Oriental Collection. There are photos, maps, and coins of the Huns of the Golden Horde, as well as diaries, letters, and publications telling about the life of the Kazakhs of that time. In addition, a collection of forged swords, jewelry, horse utensils, ceramics, and handmade carpets occupies an important place. They were once brought from a trip to Central Asia and Kazakhstan by a guest from Europe, Henry Moser.
Yeah, the Tusclim is one of the most important pieces, I would say, in the collection. It indicates, well, it was a wall hanging, to say so, in a tent that was used on diplomatic missions in the background of the high-ranking military officials that met. And, of course, it was also seen in, like, behind the European visitors, for example, that met these diplomats. Looking at them, we can actually learn something about the political, about the military, about the social structure of Kazakhstan or of other regions in Central Asia at that time. So there's somehow a window into the history of Central Asia.
Our museum is mainly responsible for the history of Bern, with all the important objects and the history of town and canton of Bern. But we also have a very large collection of Central Asian art since nearly 100 years.
Several years ago, Kazakh scientists studied the archival treasury in the Bern Museum. Based on the results of their research, a book album, manuscripts and artifacts on the history and culture of Kazakhstan from the Henry Moser Foundation was released. It is a 472-page edition in English, Kazakh and Russian, with copies of historical artifacts. The Bern Historical Museum and the University of Bern intend to continue cooperation, in particular with Kazakhstan's Süleymanov Institute of Oriental Studies. An exhibition of paintings and sculptures from the member states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization entitled Common Dream is being held in China. The exhibition, which opened at the National Art Museum in Beijing, showcases the works of painting masters and children's drawings of aspiring artists from Kazakhstan, including boarding school students of the Jurgenov Kazakh National Academy of Arts. The exhibition features over 50 exhibits, particularly from China's National Art Museum, as well as 89 works in digital format. The exhibition takes place as part of the SCO Year of Culture in China and will run until September 21st. The most important thing about this exhibition is its cultural inclusiveness. It brings together works by artists from the SCO countries, each with its own distinctiveness. The theme of the event is a common dream. The background color of the exhibition logo is blue. It symbolizes a boat of the common future of humankind that sails forward under one blue sky and in one sea.